I'm Brittany Lewis with Forbes Breaking News. At a Senate Banking Committee hearing on Thursday, Senator Sherrod Brown spoke about climate change. The Ohio Democrat said, quote, "Climate change is here." Senator Brown condemned big oil for making record profits, while taxpayers will have to foot the bill for the impact of climate change.
Climate change is here. The country knows it. It's here for Ohio teachers and students forced to work in schools without air conditioning and 90-plus degree heat for more and more days at both ends of the school year. It's here for Ohio cities and towns, like the one Mr. Florida comes from, that draw their drinking water from Lake Erie and face higher and higher costs from harmful algae blooms. It's here for Ohio farmers, many of whom lost an entire growing season in 2019 because of extreme rain, who will soon be forced to grow crops that used to be forced to learn to grow crops, used to be better suited to Arkansas than to Ohio. It's here for our neighbors in Kentucky who watched their homes and communities wash away in the devastating floods this week, the kind that scientists warn are becoming more common. We've seen these pictures, pretty much probably all of us in this room. The flooding could be in many of our states. Ask mayors, ask school superintendents, ask county commissioners about the increasing costs they deal with already because of climate change. Costs we know will only get worse. And we know who will be forced to pay for these costs. It's not the oil companies that make record profits. $8.5 billion last quarter for BP. That's only 3 months. $12 billion for Chevron. That's $4 billion in profits a month. $12 billion for Shell. That's $1 billion in profits per week. $18 billion for ExxonMobil. That's $200 million in profits a day. It's not these corporations that pay the bill, it's local taxpayers. The likely impact of climate change could cost people in my state $6 billion a year. These corporations and their executives have been getting rich by price gouging consumers and polluting our communities for decades. Taxpayers in Ohio, taxpayers around the country will be left to pick up the pieces. Taxpayers are always left to pick up the pieces. It's why we have to act now to grow the renewable energy economy, to make our communities more resilient to climate disasters. If we delay, it gets only more expensive to fix. In previous hearings, we've examined the threat of climate change to our financial system, the economic opportunities for good-paying jobs in the low-carbon economy, the role of insurance in protecting the economy from the coming impact, and how we can reduce carbon emissions as we improve our housing. In each hearing, too many have treated the looming catastrophe of climate change as just kind of a non-issue, or as something so far out in the future that there's no need to spend time on it in this committee. That just makes no sense. As the committee tasked with overseeing the stability of our financial system, that's what we're doing. We have a responsibility to do all we can to prevent obvious risks from wrecking our local communities and our financial stability. No one in this committee questions the need to prevent cyber crimes by asking how many banks have failed because of it. We don't dismiss financial scams because they don't pose a systemic risk to the financial system at the moment. Our towns, our taxpayers can't afford for us to treat climate risk any differently, not when the effects in the economy are so clear. With almost the entire country under excessive heat warnings, with floods and wildfires and droughts and extreme storms threatening Americans' lives and livelihoods, we know that communities in every state are about to be hit with massive bills many of them just won't see coming. We know there's tremendous economic opportunity if we address these threats in the right way. Ohio, Pennsylvania, South Carolina can create good-paying jobs in the industries of the future. And if we don't lead, we know China will be all too happy to lead. This morning, we'll hear from 4 witnesses, including the executive director of one of the Ohio groups that published a report called "The Bill is Coming Due." It features eye-opening figures detailing costs that will be borne by Ohio towns and cities, and as a result, Ohio taxpayers because of climate change. What I hope to hear from witnesses is a recognition of the risk to our communities, to the lives and livelihoods of our fellow citizens from these real and present and looming and growing threats. I hope we'll hear honest assessments of the state of the world we're in, constructive suggestions of how we make it better. I hope we'll come away from this hearing thinking about how we can help towns and cities in Ohio and Rhode Island and North Dakota and Pennsylvania that are living on, frankly, on borrowed time, and how we can prepare, they can prepare for what's coming. Let's create jobs for the 21st century. Let's make sure the workers, and I hope union jobs, Dave, the workers who will drive the 21st century economy can still live in the towns and cities we're sent here to represent.